Hello, hello, bonjour. This is Tara with elegantfemme.com, and welcome to my living room and a really actually tender place in my heart. There's something really important as things are beeping. Let me mute that. Something really important I want to talk to you about today. And you may have noticed, maybe you didn't, but you may have noticed that I've been a little bit absent, and I chose not to engage with all of you until I had shared something very real. After our Beautiful for Life event, I started to take note of something very different in my life. I've always been a fan of self-care. If you've been with us for quite some time, or even if you're brand new to Elegant Femme, you might have noticed that. Can you shut that window? They're doing, the apartment below us is being completely renovated, so I'm just getting a little intuitive hint from my indie that it's a good idea to shut those windows. So again, I've always been really a fan of self-care and talking about self-care with an Elegant Femme and how important, since the very, very beginning, right? We have our daily requirements as women with an Elegant Femme. We have our practice, what we do in the morning, what we do in the evening. We've really created a whole entire structure of how to honor ourselves as women as we grow. Well, after Beautiful for Life, I had an awareness and a kind of a shaking that I wasn't anticipating. And I want to share it with you today and also share with you what's happened since then and really assist you and open up for you an opportunity for you to transform your own physical body. So let me give you a little background about what I'm talking about. And maybe before I do that, I'll share the intention of what self-care really means to me. Because self-care is so much more than just getting a massage every now and again, or getting our nails done, or getting our toes done. I mean, our Frenchie loves that. Much deeper aspects of the Frenchie, but our Frenchie loves that, of course. But self-care is so much more than that. Self-care is really allowing yourself to sustain your life and your physical connection with life in a way that reflects your unique feminine perspective in the world. So I want to talk to you about that, and I want to talk to you right away about what I mean by sustain, because there's actually two very, very different definitions of sustain, and it's really important for us as women to understand the distinction and understand which one we're holding energetically, because it's very easy to to cross over. Traverse means cross in French, so throw in a little French word there for you. It's very easy for us to cross over to one side or the other if we're not conscious. So I want to actually read you the definition so I'm concise with this. One of the definitions of sustain actually means to undergo or to suffer, right? To just almost like a toleration energy, like, oh, I'm sustaining this, right? To undergo or to suffer. This one, unfortunately, for us as women, we're really, really familiar with. In fact, this is the way we typically relate to our physical bodies. This is the way I was relating to my physical body. Yes, I understood massages and this and that, but there were some core things that I wasn't listening to, some core signs that I wasn't listening to. And I'm going to get to that in a minute and really why it's so important for you. The other definition of sustain, this is what I'm talking about, and this is what I want you to reflect on this week, means strengthen or support, physically or mentally. So when I say to you that this is about, the self-care I'm talking about is about you sustaining your life in a way that is conducive and to a reflection of your unique feminine reflection in the world, what I'm talking about is the strength, to strengthen and support and allow your physical body to do that as well as you do that for her. Okay, so that's what we're talking about today. So let me tell you what happened to me and what's happened to me really recently. Been having back pain for about 4 years, actually ever since we moved to France. And I had a fall and some other complications, and I kept, dealing with it. I kept putting it on the back burner, and the pain would increase, and then I'd kind of hobble through it and get through it, and then it would decrease, and it would flare up again, and I was just managing it. I wasn't completely ignoring it. I was going to doctors, I was going to chiropractors, but the majority of me was really trying to ignore it. I really didn't want to deal with this. I didn't have time to deal with this. I didn't want to confront this. I just wanted it to go away. And I really thought that if I could just surrender enough to spirit, that this might just be taken from me. And there are some things in that which I really believe, and yet, if you've ever heard the joke where somebody's saying, they're in the middle of the ocean and they're asking God for a sign if God could save them, and a boat goes by and a raft goes by and a tank goes by or whatever, and they go, God, why did you save me? And he says, I did. I sent you a boat, a raft. The reason I'm bringing that up is because we have a responsibility to honor our physical bodies and to really take a look at what's going on and not just do a spiritual bypass and just want something to be taken care of magically without us actually doing the action. So my situation with my back was really flaring up, and those of you who are at Beautiful for Life, you witnessed some of that unfolding. Shortly after that, I started taking things much more seriously. I started dialoguing with my back in a way that I do within some of my programs, from the indie perspective, looking at my body from a different way. And I started to actually feel, this is actually scary for me to say this out loud, I started to actually feel my age. I started to actually get really emotional, that things are changing, that I used to take for granted. It's even emotional to say it now because, things that, I used to complain about, my legs weren't thin enough or this wasn't that, and now getting a really kind of a wake-up call. Maybe you've had that already. Maybe whatever you've been through in your life, you've experienced that, oh my goodness, that gratitude for where you are now and what you have, and also a little bit of melancholy or tenderness, realizing that you've taken some things for granted. So I went through that process, finally got an MRI on my back, which my mother's been telling me to do for 4 years, and found out that there was indeed some hemorrhaging of my discs in my lower back, and it was really emotional for me to see on the MRI that my body was actually doing that. And in conjunction with that, we found out there was a big infection in my teeth, in a root canal that was infected that it abscessed and went back in. It abscessed just enough for me to get by for 2 years. And by the time I went to the dentist to get the tooth extracted, because that was what was required at the time, the infection had gotten into my blood. So I was having some immunity issues. The dentist said, you're going to love me in 3 months. You're going to have so much energy. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, imagine what I could do. Given I travel across the world every 3 weeks is the way I'm going. But here's the thing, and here's the question I started to ask myself, and here's the question I want you to ask yourself. It's not about a question anymore of can we do it as women. We know we can do it. I know you can do it. I know I can do it. We need to ask a different question. How do we want to go about doing it? And how do we want to honor our physical bodies in the process? So I'm taking the opportunity for us to look at self-care in a much more deep way, a much more physical way, and a much more spiritual way. Because as we grow as women, and as we evolve into higher levels of light and consciousness, I'm noticing that my physical body is even more important, that I need to honor her even more, that the opportunity for me to recognize and be in gratitude for what it is the body I've chose to incarnate in is really, really becoming important. So the last couple of weeks I've been resting and I've been reflecting, and I was not about to get on this newsletter and say, oh yeah, cha-cha-cha. No, I wanted to tell you where I've been and what's been going on. So we're going to be talking about this much more in depth over the next couple of weeks because we actually have our sensual planning day coming up at the end of July. And this is a really self-honoring opportunity. So right now, this is where I want us to start together. I want to hear from you. How is it that you really honor your body? How is it that you're really honoring your body right now? And nothing is off limits, right? I'm talking about dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, meditating. Like, what is it that you're really doing right now that's assisting your physical body in feeling strong and feeling appreciative and feeling gratitude for what it is you've embodied? Because look, you wouldn't be here listening to this video or being in touch with us at Elegant Femme if you didn't have a big mission in the world. It's really easy for us women to go to the spiritual sense and just kind of want to leave our bodies. In fact, it takes a lot of courage to really be in these bodies. So I want to hear from you. I want us to help each other through this journey of physicality, through this journey of humanness, and really feel a lot of gratitude for what it is we chose to embody. So yeah, self-care. I want to hear from you. How is it you're choosing to love and honor your physical body? And next week, we're going to do a little part 2 on this, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about how we're choosing to do this here at Elegant Femme and how that specifically is going to honor your femme types. I'm sending you so much love, so much grace, and so much strength to sustain your physical body and your life in a way that's a reflection, a true reflection of your unique feminine expression in the world. I'll see you next week.